Thank you so much, Colin, and thank you all and everybody for inviting me. I don't get out that often these days. They don't let me out of the nursing home. So it's a real pleasure to be here. And I came down yesterday and I had a look at the exhibition, and of course it's only when I came into the room that I realised this isn't just an exhibition, wonderful and all it is, of people's writing. It's also an exhibition of people's artwork in porcelain painting. And it kind of gives it a bit of a zing to have the two together. You have this dynamic of colour and of natural forms, and just, it really works, I think, to have the two. I think it's worth doing it again in the future. I mean, I don't want to tell Signal how to do their job, but it just seems to work so well. I'm going to read you what Carmen Cullen says about the book. And the theme of these written pieces is food for thought. And I just want to quote her. It's a title I hope can be interpreted in many ways. The response of the writers is very varied. Each one brings in their own world and their personal response. Our group is very welcoming and includes different ages and backgrounds. We would be delighted if other writers in the community are interested in joining us. It's an eclectic group made up of many talents and original insights into the world. I believe this group has instinctively formed an understanding that there's no such thing as the correct way to write. Perhaps there are initial mistakes to be ironed out, but we all make mistakes. But the richness of your lives brings a depth to the writing of the Little Bray Writers Group. And I think that really encapsulates what exactly this is all about. And I've been kind of watching the development of the group over the 10 years that it's been going, and it's marvellous to see. And I'm sure there's great friendships attached to doing the work, but it's just that continuity is so impressive. And I thought the title was pretty good, Food for Thought, because when I went around, everything I read did give me food for thought, and yet they're extremely varied. And I'll just go through them, just with a few comments. Richard Rowan's is a meditation on the height of a horse, measured in hands. But it's so much more than that. He goes back into the past, and then he projects into the future, and all the elements to the care of a horse, whether it's trainers or harness makers or whatever. And he comes up at the end with this magic figure of 57 hands. So it's not just the measurement itself, it's all the complexity around it. I really like that. Therese O'Connor's, am I right? Yes. It's a tribute to her school teacher, Jerry McNamee. But again, it's actually a very poignant piece. She's talking about how a teacher gave her the love of words, and there is no greater gift that anybody, teacher or otherwise, can give to another person. I mean, that's why literacy is so vital. But the gift of words has, Teresa acknowledges, has been given to her. And her poem, A Belfast Christmas, is about a young soldier far from home who's been eating a piece of his mother's Christmas cake. I found that quite heartbreaking because immediately, of course, brings to mind all those young soldiers who are fighting in a war on both sides, who are far from home and who are, I imagine, in terribly distressing circumstances. And then, of course, there's the queen of the show, the facilitator, Carmen Cullen, who wrote a really interesting piece called Home. And we all have a picture of home, all of us. And sometimes maybe it varies during our lifetime. But she really has it. It's quite a subtle poem, I thought, and I have to read it a few times. Because she's talking about the ambivalence about looking at a house from the past. And obviously she's a poet, she's a novelist, but in this poem it's quite a short poem. And she's exploring a feeling that is quite, it's quite wistful. And she says, I can't find a silver-threaded heart in it, however hard I try. And again, food for thought. And Tony Carroll, goodness, it doesn't seem the same without him here. Every time I came to something done by the writers group, creative writers group, Tony was always there, always with a welcome. And it's really, I'm really sorry now. I must say, I just want to acknowledge the presence of Frank and his sister, Tricia. I haven't totally got Alzheimer's yet. But it's really lovely to see you both. And I thought his piece was very familiar to us in Bray. I mean, Darkness into Light. We all know about it. Many of us participate in it. It's an annual event. But Tony made a kind of beautiful prayer in the poem, and it reminded me of very early Celtic poems. And he had this rhythm that belongs in an early Celtic poem, as cold as the snow, as fast as the hair, as flat as my foot. And I just thought it was really a perfect piece. And then we're going on through to the final pieces. Tricia Berkeley's letter. I tell you, this is a powerful story. Told with the minimum words. And there's a passion now for flash fiction. This is exactly the kind of piece that qualifies as flash fiction. And at the end of it, it leaves us crying out for more. Can we talk? It's a beginning, it's not an ending. But that's the thing about it. She leaves you hanging, waiting for more. And that's a really good piece, I think, in terms of keeping the interest going and giving us a bit of a punch at the end. Anne Harding's piece, Friendships, made me realise. Today I met two friends of mine I hadn't seen for a long time, and I knew them when I was 10 or 11. And you know, we've changed, we've all changed, but there is still a common ground. And I suppose it is a factor of age that we appreciate friendship more and more. People die, people move on, children are born. There is this thread of friendship that Anne Harding really has captured. And she writes, she always told her daughters to treasure good friends and don't neglect your friendships. Can you think of better advice? I can't. Okay, and then Rhea Casey, who is where is she gone? Oh, there she is. Good to see you again. And it's pretty stark, this kind of view on city life with very vivid images that jump out off the page. And the experience of displacement is real. You're losing friends, having to start again. And again, that made me think of all the people who have had to abandon their lives, move here and try and start again, and how many of them. And in a way, I think Ireland has done well. We have welcomed them in, but it's still a terrible experience. And all we can do is keep welcoming them as much as we can. I have a family with me, staying with me, and the poor woman's in hospital. 2 young children at home. Their father's fighting in Ukraine. The mother is in hospital. That should be grand. But it just shows you how tough things are. And they're wonderful people. And then there's Miriam Sherry's. She really is writing in a very provocative way, I think. She's putting it out there. She's making us think about the ethics of organ donation. She makes us think about the issue. We don't have to agree with it, but we do have to think about it. And that's exactly what good writing does. Forces us to reassess all the kind of automatic things, views, prejudices, opinions, whatever it is. So, well done to you all. So, I want to congratulate every member of the Creative Writing Group, the Little Bray Creative Writing Group. I want to congratulate you again. It's becoming a habit. You meet obviously regularly in the Resource Centre, but I also want to compliment the Porcelain Painters Group, who are new to me, and Alvin gave me a little note about you. Can I find it? No. But I do want to name all the members first, because the work is really beautiful. Rosemary Hart, Vanessa Davis, Lorraine Lynch, Teresa Farrell, Maura Cooper, Rose Danes, Adrienne Carroll, Maeve Spotswood. And Alwyn very kindly gave it to me. She says, you've been meeting for 10 years. So, at least. It's interesting.
Some longer in the other resource centre.
This is a hidden life you have.
Yes. And in the early 90s we started
Surely.
Really?
It doesn't seem
In
like
the early
it.
90s in South Bray Resource Centre.
In Fassaroe Court, yeah?
No, in
What she says, and you can argue with this, they meet in an oasis of calm. Well, at least that's what we like to think. They go inside and shut the door and leave the world behind. The creative process takes over. Colours, images and shapes fill the mind. The hand, paint, brush and piece of porcelain combine to create a finished piece that holds part of the personality of the artist-creator. But she should be making the speech. Anyway, it's a deeply personal experience, and we see it in these lovely pieces. We're proud, as a resource centre is proud, to have them displayed as part of this exhibition. Well said,
Thank you, and we would welcome any new members who wish to come with us.
okay, and they would welcome any
Mondays
members.
or Thursdays.
Excellent.
Monday
Okay,
in Fassaroe, yeah.
so congratulations to everybody. Thank you to Signal Arts Centre for all the work that they do, and the resource centres. This is what makes community work, and we must continue to value these kind of resources. I just want to officially open the exhibition and congratulate every single one of you who's involved in this. It's really a wonderful exhibition, so congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much for being